So this session will be focusing on January 2007. I have this as the alternative paper because I found this as well as another one that is also marked January 2007. So I'm not sure what might have happened that year. Probably there was like a leaked paper or something. I'm not too sure. So if this looks a bit different from the one that you have been practicing for 2007, then this is some extra practice here. So same thing, 75 minutes. And let's begin. So one, if a carbon atom were traced through the following organisms, the order in which it is likely to be detected would be D. So plants to grasshopper, grasshopper to lizard, lizard to small birds. This is because it's from the plant material that these organisms would get their nutrients, as we cannot take carbon from the atmosphere. We have to get it through the plants or from the other organisms that might have eaten plants or eaten other organisms that would have eaten plants. To see, two, the bush pig, which has been observed to feed on a diet of plant roots as well as birds' eggs, is C, an omnivore. 3. Which of the following is not indicated by direction of the arrow in a food chain? B, which is the amount of food each animal eats. 4. If all trees in a large area of forest were wiped out by disease, what would be the most likely effect on the composition of the air in the long term? The answer is A. The levels of carbon dioxide would increase. 5 refers to this very simplified food web here. So, which of the organisms in the food web above would most likely die out if the grasshopper would be eliminated? The answer is whichever one feeds on the grasshopper. So, that would be 2, the lizard. So the answer is B, because based on this, the lizard has nothing else in its diet. 4, 6. Why do I keep messing that up? 6. The sun's energy becomes available to animals through the process of B, photosynthesis. Item 7 refers to the following diagram of a plant cell under or as seen under high powered microscope. So, which of the following is not found in animal cells? The answer would be 2, which represents the chloroplasts. 8. When compared to a cheek cell, a muscle cell contains more A mitochondria. 9. Which of the following is not necessary for photosynthesis to take place? The answer is B, oxygen. Oxygen is a waste product of photosynthesis. 10. The variation in cellular features found in any complex organism is due to the process of despecialization. 11. If enzymes were not present in living cells, which of the following would likely occur? The answer would be C, 1 and 3. So the reaction time would be really, really slow. And 3, the reactions may require higher temperatures to break the bonds between the molecules. Item 12 refers to the following information. So a man has poor night vision and his gums bleed whenever he brushes his teeth. So which two vitamins are probably lacking from his diet? The answer would be C, vitamin C and E. Item 13 refers to the following characteristics: thin walled surface, excellent blood supply, always moist, and large surface area. These characteristics describe structures that are most likely to be associated with the A, diffusion of gases. 14. During gaseous exchange, terrestrial mammals breathe in D, air with a high concentration of oxygen, and breathe out air with a high concentration of carbon dioxide. 15. which of the following statements is true for anaerobic respiration, but not for aerobic respiration? The answer is A, ethanol is formed. 16. The correct pathway for the excretion of molecules of urea in man is D. So you go from the renal artery to the Bowman's capsule, then the convoluted tubule, and the collecting duct. The others, A and B, we could eliminate that one time because veins as the first thing, no. And C, we have from the renal artery, which is correct, but to the collecting duct. The collecting duct is the last spot. So that's how we know D is the correct answer. 17. Which of the following substances can be found in high proportions in the nucleus? The answer is D, DNA. Item 18 refers to the following diagram of blood vessels to and from the liver. So 18, the blood vessel containing the highest concentration of urea is the B, the hepatic portal vein. I'm sorry, the hepatic vein, right? So remember, we're going the nutrients or the blood with the all of the nutrients from digestion goes from the gut to the liver via the hepatic portal vein. With the when it gets to the liver, this is where we have the excess amino acids and whatever amino acids we cannot store it. So we have the process of deamination taking place here, and then with that deoxygenated blood that is secreted out into the hepatic vein to make its rounds for it to come back to the kidneys where it will be taken out or filtered. Item 19 refers to the following graph, which shows the rate of photosynthesis in a green plant on a bright and sunny day. So, which of the following plant reactions would cause X on the graph? So, X is that decrease, which is around 12 noon. So, it's a decrease in the rate of photosynthesis. The answer is A, the stomata closure. Item 20 refers to the diagram below, which shows the glucose glycogen balance in humans. So 20, which part of the cycle shown becomes active when a heavy carbohydrate meal is eaten? We don't need to know anything else about this part. We don't need to know anything about pyruvic acid at this point, right? So all of this is extra information, probably to chain you up or to tie you up a little bit. But this is the part here we're concerned with. So if we have a lot of glucose in the blood, we're at here, right? And what happens? That glucose is converted into liver glycogen. So the answer is B. That's all we are concerned with at that point. 21. Which of the following is not an excretory product in humans? The answer is C, calcium oxalate. 22. Which of the following would not represent a form of excretion in plants? We saw this already. The answer is C, the water vapor diffusing through the epidermis. No gases is lost through the epidermis, it is only through the stomata. Items 23 to 24 refer to the following diagram of a kidney tubule. So the section labeled 1 represents the glomerular filtrate. This contains D, salt, water, urea, and glucose. All of the other answers, we just look at one thing and we know it's wrong. Urine. Urine is the final product of everything that is filtered and remains in the kidney that is sent to the collecting duct. So urine does not come into. You will never find urine at this point. It is only in the collecting duct we have urine. 24. The section labeled 2 represents the contents of the collecting tube. The collecting tubule. So which of the following best describes its composition? The answer would be B. So salt, urea, and water. The only thing that is missing from the list above, or what we'll find in the glomerular filtrate, is the glucose. But remember, glucose is actively reabsorbed only in the proximal convoluted tubule. right? So you'll find no glucose in the collecting tubule unless the person's kidney is damaged or they have diabetes. 25. The main function of cartilage at the end of long bones is to C. Reduce friction. For item 26 refers to the following diagrams of germinating seedlings treated as shown. So at the end of the week, which seedlings would be growing straight? So it's in some sort of box with a hole here where the light can pass through. Three is covered with foil. Two, the tips are cut off. And one, the tips are cut off. Then they put it back, but between it, they have a strip of plastic. So the answer would be C. 1, 2, and 3 would be going straight, as it isn't going to have any sensitivity towards light. It's only the untreated one at the end of the week would be growing towards the direction of the light. 27 to 28 refers to the following diagram of the thoracic vertebrae. So the structure which serve largely for muscle attachment are A, 1 and 2, and 28, the nervous tissue is found at C, which is 3, the space between it here. 29, so consider the following. So withdrawal of an earthworm into its burrow when touched, bending of shoots towards light, rolling up of a millipede when touched with a needle, or movement of maggots away from the light. All of this is responses, which is D. Item 30 to 31 refers to the following diagram. So again, we have this whole setup or the reflex arc here. So 30, when the skin of the hand touches a hot object, the sequence of impulse flow is B, from 2 to 3 to 1, and the numbered structures are: 1 is the effector, 2 is the receptor, and 3 is the relay neuron or the intermediate neuron. 32. Which of the following is likely to promote a lowering of body temperature? The answer is A. Dilation of blood vessels just under the skin. 33. Which of the following represents the correct path through which light passes before striking the retina? So this one, if you, let's say in the heat of exam, you can't remember what the conjunctiva is or where it is, right? You're looking for similar things. So you're saying, okay, the lens, the pupil, I know those for sure. We could figure this out by method of elimination by going backward. So with things that are lists, if you know where it has to end up, then we could start from the back and move going forward. So for starters, we know that the aqueous humor is to the front. So you will not find this to the back. So this A and C, that is already gone. The space in the eye, you have the vitreous humor. So that leaves us with B and D. The difference here now, before the vitreous humor, they have the lens, right? And here they have the pupil, then the lens. Remember, the pupil is before the lens because the light passes through the pupil and then gets to the lens where it is refracted, where accommodation takes place. So that already makes us say nah, D is not the answer. So B is the answer. So the light goes from the front, so you have the conjunctiva to the cornea, then the aqueous humor, the lens, then the vitreous humor. 34. Which of the following endocrine glands is associated with both the structure and function of the brain? D. The pituitary gland. 35. Which of the following are most likely to cause improper functioning of the eyes? The answer is C, which is weak ciliary muscles, lack of vitamin A, and glaucoma. 36. A seedling illuminated from one side, again, we meet this question, bends towards the light source because the concentration of oxygen becomes A greater on the side that is away from the light. 37. Seed dispersal is important in order for plants to B. Avoid overcrowding. 38. Which of the following are benefits of using asexual rather than sexual methods to reproduce plants? The answer would be C. So, with that, we get many new plants in a short space of time. We get new plants which are identical to each other, and many plants with desirable features because we're preserving that. This here, a wide range of variety in the offsprings. This is due to meiosis, so that is sexual reproduction. 39. A flower which has a long style with a feathery stigma, long filaments, and no corolla, and very small sepals is adapted for B. Pollination by wind. 40 to 41 refers to the following options, which are means by which seeds or fruits are dispersed. So if the seed or the fruit has sticky hairs, then we know this is animal um, dispersion. So it could stick on the insects or whatever. And we also have the wings. Wings would be for the wind. With the sticky hairs as well, there's if you're passing through the grass, sometimes there's this little green thing that sticks on your pants or on your socks, and then you just brush it off wherever you are. You have helped with dispersal there because in that you have the seeds. So now, if it landed on an area where it can grow, you've helped with that process of seed dispersal. 42. Which of the following best describes what happens in mitosis? The answer is D. Two identical daughter cells are produced. 34. The halving of chromosome numbers during the formation of gametes is important to a species for A. Retaining the diploid number, because when fertilization takes place, you have haploid and haploid meeting to make the diploid number organism. 44. In which of the following parts of the plant does the process of mitosis occur? D. The region behind the root tip. 45. Using tissue culture techniques, an entire plant can be made to grow from any single somatic, which is non-reproductive cell. This implies that C. Each somatic cell has all the genes necessary for the plant to function. 46. Which of the following is not inherited? A. Iron deficiency anemia. Iron deficiency meaning you or that person is lacking iron in their diet. That is not inherited. 47. Which of the following best describes the visible characteristics of living things? We know that this is the B phenotype. 48. Sexual reproduction is more useful for the survival of organisms in a changing environment than asexual reproduction because, see, many variations are possible. So the others that they have, it results in organisms with more strength, not necessarily. More well established individuals are produced, not necessarily, and it causes rapid increase in numbers. That is not true. So C is the answer that makes the most sense here. 49. Human beings have been able to develop many species of plants and animals with characteristics which are beneficial to them. This process is called A. Artificial selection. So 50. In guinea pigs, rough coat is dominant to smooth coat. If two heterozygous rough coat guinea pigs mate, they will produce D. Some members of each. Remember again, two heterozygous. From my previous videos, I I'm emphasizing or have been emphasizing, when two heterozygous parents mate, you always get a 1 to 2 to 1 ratio. One homozygous dominant, one homozygous recessive, and two heterozygous. And when it comes to their phenotype, you get a 3 to 1 because these three are going to show the characteristics based on the dominant trait, and this one is the only one that is going to show what the recessive trait is. So D will be the answer, some members of each type. 51. An organism which causes a disease is called a pathogen. 54. An animal which carries a disease causing organism but is not adversely affected by it is known as the B vector. 53. Which of the following are involved with the formation of blood clots? We have A, which is platelets. 54. The following statements were made by a number of drug users. So we saw this in the previous paper that we did. The answer is C, 1, 3, and 4. This person who is taking insulin, this person has to do it to make sure that they live because their body cannot produce insulin or respond to the type of insulin that they are making. You do not have to take antibiotics for a cold or to make sure that you don't get a cold. So this one is also a statement that could be made by a drug user. So the answer is 1, 3, and 4, which is C. 55. Waterlogging of soil results in the death of organisms because C. The organisms cannot respire due to the lack of air. 56. Which of the following best describes an ecosystem? D. The abiotic and biotic factors in an aquarium. So remember, ecosystem isn't just all of the biotic factors, it is both biotic and abiotic factors. In all the other options, they specified something. So they said all mammals or all abiotic and a population of parrotfishes. A population of parrotfishes, only parrotfishes there in the coral reef. They're not talking about everything. So the answer is D. 57 and 58 refer to the graphs below, and we also met this in the last paper. So 57, which of them is showing that they have, or the organisms have a good supply of food and is not threatened by any environmental stress or subjected to any environmental stress. That would be B, which is still in its exponential phase. And 58 has reached its equilibrium, and there's a delicate balance between the rate of births and death. That would be C, where it has reached its stationary phase. 59. Which of the following organisms are most important in biodegradation? All of them are important, but the one that is most important is A, the bacteria. And finally, item 60 refers to the following, the figure below, which shows the relationship between the incidence of diseases and food supply in human population. So, based on the information, what we can deduce is that as the population increases, B, disease, so as the population increases, the incidence of disease is increasing and the food resources or supplies are decreasing. So B is the answer. So that brings us to the end of this, at least this version of the January 2007 paper. Again, if you have any questions or you think something is wrong, leave a comment in the comment section below. I'll get back to you and we could figure out if I was wrong or if you may not fully understand something and I could help explain it to you further. Remember to like, share, and subscribe so you get information or you'll get notified when any other videos are coming out. And I really, really do hope if you stay to the end that this helps you in your preparation for your upcoming exams. All the best and goodbye.